Hello and welcome to the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast for November 21st, 2024. This is episode 329. Stand-up comedian, actor, and improviser Paul Green sharing my thoughts and insights as I pursue my dream in the hopes that you might pursue yours as well. So, last night, I'm releasing this kind of early, actually on Friday morning. So when I say last night, I mean Thursday evening. I had an opportunity to drive to Yuma, Arizona with the one and only Josh Novi, my comedy partner, for another live performance of the Midlife Crisis comedy show. And it was overall a really great show. We were very fortunate that we were able to sell out a smaller black box theater in Yuma that had about 80 seats, and we sold every seat in about a week. And that was really exciting because that is one of our goals, is to figure out how we can sell out venues. And because of the success of this show, they already are having us back in December, and we're going to try for the big theater in Yuma in December, which is about a 600-seat venue. So we'll see. We'll see how many people we can get in Yuma to come out. But Yuma seems to be a big fan of what we're doing, and that's very exciting. And those of you who follow the podcast know that I really made it a goal this last year to figure out how in the heck to market and sell tickets to shows, because I was confronted with the ugly truth that as an artist and as a performer, the value of my art can only go so high if people are not buying tickets to see me perform. And that's something that can be upsetting to a lot of maybe artists out there who want to feel like their art should just be valued for the art itself. And I totally get that. But I've been doing comedy long enough, and it's not just comedy, it's pretty much all of the performance arts, which is the comedians, the actors, the performers, the musicians, whatever it is, who seem to get the most success are the ones who are able to draw an audience. And I made it a conscious effort about a year ago that I was going to start figuring out how to draw an audience to a show, and just to see what that would take. And it's no small feat. So anybody out there who's ever tried to put on a show or a performance or produce a show or performance and had to try to get an audience to show up, I'll tell you, my heart goes out to you, because it is, it's just a real challenge. I don't know if it's harder today than in the past, but I mean, if you just think about how much content is available to the world today, competing for people's time and eyeballs and energy, it's just remarkable. So, I just think like, okay, so there's somebody, sitting at home who has a smartphone and a laptop and a Roku television and can literally log onto any one of those devices and watch any movie or TV show ever in the history of the world with the push of a few buttons. And they could watch a movie that some studio spent $200 million to produce that movie, and somebody could watch that movie on their device for a $15 a month subscription, or they could take $20 and go see me live. So we're all competing for that same amount of time. The $100 million movie and me doing my 2-person comedy show with Josh Novey. And I don't know why that is something that I've thought a lot about, but it really is just a fascinating phenomenon that I think our modern day technology culture has created, which, is very unique. I mean, think about before the internet, how much competition was there for people's eyeballs? It's like there were like 3 major TV stations, and on any given night, you would watch Johnny Carson or 2 other channels, and if you wanted other entertainment, you had to go somewhere. I mean, I guess maybe the radio. But now anybody with a smartphone can be an entertainer. A 15-year-old kid can create a TikTok account and show videos of them dancing, spend like almost no money on production, and they're competing for people's entertainment capacity, the same as the $100 million movie or the same as my live show. And really what we're competing against is his everything all the time. So learning and understanding how to compete in that framework it's been really fascinating. It's been about a year. So the first thing that I tried to do a year ago was I had a personal stand-up comedy show down in Tucson, and it was in a large venue that had about 600 seats, and I wanted to see if I could sell that venue out. And I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing and advertising and flyers and Facebook ads and Google ads, and I did podcasts. I posted in Facebook groups. I had a news article written up about me, and I think I sold about 60 tickets, and it cost me about $8,000, and I made about $1,500 back. Like, that's how freaking hard it is to get butts in seats. And what I like about what Josh and I have going is I think it's a lot more marketable brand. It's a lot more unique than trying to sell tickets to just a stand-up comedian who's not famous. And but that's just all part of this next leg of the journey. Is I'm trying to look at what is everybody doing who is not successful? if that makes sense. And what are the comedians or the performers doing who are successful and who are doing really well right now? And I've been doing stand-up comedy long enough that I have seen comics go from doing their first stand-up sets at open mics to now they're national touring headliners and are getting like major TV credits. I started doing stand-up with a female comic in LA back in 2019, again, doing open mics. Nobody knew who she was. And now she is selling out venues nationwide. She recently was on LeBron James' talk show. I think it's called The Shop, where they like get their hair done, and she's on this show making LeBron James laugh and telling jokes, and she's 5 years in. I've seen another buddy of mine go from doing his first stand-up comedy sets to now he's on Saturday Night Live. I've seen friends of mine get, spots on Conan O'Brien, and I've also seen, for all of those comics, there are dozens and dozens and dozens that I've seen over the years at, different open mics or whatever it is, who are still where they are pretty much when they started. And when I really look at, well, what is the difference? What is the difference between the comics who can, launch into higher levels of success, and so much of it is their capacity to be a draw. And again, that can be something that we don't want it to be that way. We want artists just to be honored for how talented they are. And, I'm saying I can't speak for anybody else but myself, but that's the reality. And my comic friends who have been successful, it's because they learned how to be a draw. Like that female comic friend of mine, she figured out social media, and she was relentless on social media. She was producing so much social media content and quality content, and putting so much of her comedy online in very authentic, very well produced, well cut together manner, and she blew up on social media so fast. And that social media following converted into people buying tickets. So when she would go on her social media and say, hey, everybody, I'm going to be in San Diego, or I'm going to be in Chandler, or I'm going to be in New York, I'm going to be in, Boston, wherever she was, people would come out and see her. And that only grew and grew and grew and grew until now she is a national touring headliner act, 6 years into doing comedy. So I had to look at that and go, okay, well, I've tried to be successful on social media organically. I have not done a great job at that. I've sure tried, but for whatever reason, everything I've tried on social media nothing's really popped. I've grown very slowly, somewhat steadily, but my social media numbers aren't anywhere near what they would need to be to have that organic following turn and convert into tickets sold. So the next step was then to look at marketing and advertising. How can I market and advertise a show that would be so compelling to strangers that they were willing and ready and anxious to buy tickets? And so being able just to post ads on Facebook and sell out 80 seats in Yuma, Arizona, I'm not going to lie, that was and is thrilling to me. Just because of how hard and how much money it has taken to try to figure out how to do that. So, now Yuma's kind of a unique city. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. We're not really competing with a lot out there. I talked about how competitive, the entertainment market is in general. And so that competition is a lot less in Yuma because there just really isn't a lot of live entertainment. It's a bit of a retirement town. They get a lot of snowbirds down there, and our show appeals to an older generation anyway, so that's really working towards our favor. Um, so yeah, it's sure there are a lot of other factors at play, but it's still a huge win. And we had a really fun show overall. It went really well. People after the show came up and were really happy and really kind and really gracious for the show, and we're coming back already. We're going to do another show there in December. So this is an opportunity for us to start to build a following and build a brand down in Yuma. And while we continue to, grow and expand our own social media following and all of that fun stuff. So really, really great stuff, everybody. Whatever it is that you're out there doing, whatever it is that you're pursuing, there's going to be a hustle element to it. There's going to be a element of having to figure something out and being willing to really look at what is it going to take for this to be successful? What is it really going to take? And what really needs to happen? And if you can identify that and then focus on it, something's going to happen. Something has to happen. How could it not happen if you are putting daily effort and focus into accomplishing what it is that you're setting out to do? I think the reason why more people aren't successful is because most people either just don't do that. They just don't put in the effort, or they put in the effort until it gets harder, until it gets discouraging, or until they have a setback, and then they quit. I remember in that kind of Queen biopic movie, I think it was called Bohemian Rhapsody, there's a part where Queen is in the recording studio, I think, and they're kind of having a squabble, and they aren't getting along or whatever. And one of the members says, most bands don't fail, they just break up before they have a chance to be successful. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's the sentiment. And ultimately what he is saying is, there are so many bands that could have made it had they just stuck together and stuck it out. But for whatever reason, it was too hard. They ran out of the will to keep going, or they ran out of resources. And so they just broke up instead. And then the band is dead. And it's kind of funny because in the movie, when that statement is made, all of the other members of the band are kind of like, hey, why would you say that? And I think that's the case so much with so many dreams. It's not that people fail at them. It's that they quit too early. And that's the path that I'm on is, well, I didn't blow up when I was young. I didn't get some big opportunity that launched me into stardom and fame to where I could ride fame to success. So I'm at a stage now where it's like, well, I have to make my own fame. I have to generate my own audience, and I've got to do that through just grassroots. Well, it's not really grassroots. I don't think Facebook ads would constitute as grassroots. But that's what I got to figure out is how to market and advertise myself to strangers with the understanding that I'm currently not a famous, well-known celebrity, comedian, and actor. I've got to convince a stranger to put their cell phone down, buy a ticket, get in a car, drive to a theater because they want to see me, and in this case, see, me and Josh do our show. And the fact we were able to get 80 people out in Yuma again, thrilled to death about that. It's just one of those moments of, hard work and effort and focus paying off. So Keep at it, everybody. Keep pursuing. Don't quit. And good things will happen. All right, everybody. That is all for today. This is the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast for November 21st, 2024, episode 329. I love you all so much, and I will talk to you tomorrow.